Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to another live Manchester United news update show where we're going to be discussing all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news and updates that's gone about in the last couple of days. We're going to be doing a little bit of a match preview to Manchester United versus Norwich, but also be talking about some news stories that have sort of broken in the last couple of days surrounding a lot of players leaving and potentially some players joining in January. So do stay tuned for that later in the live stream. But as Paul says, guys, make sure you keep smashing that like button and subscribe to Alice Talks Football if you are new. But let's get into the content. Let's get into the news. And what are we going to be talking about today, guys? Well, we're going to start with a story that sort of broke today, and I think the story that's been going around the most today, and that is Anthony Martial is set to leave Manchester United in January. Anthony Martial's agents come out and said that Martial wants to leave. Martial wants regular game time, and it looks like Anthony Martial is set to leave Manchester United. Now, first of all, I'll give you my thoughts on this, and I want to know your thoughts on this, and then we'll get into the other stories. I think it's very, very disappointing in the sense that I think, Martial's been injured. I think, Ralf Rangnick would have given him the chance. And I think, in terms of mentality, I think it's better to have a player that goes, I'm going to stay and see if I can prove myself under Ralf Rangnick and get game time rather than leave, because you've got to think Cavani's retiring. Ronaldo's going to leave soon. There's still a place for Martial. We still, Greenwood's technically our only long-term striker if Martial's leaving and Cavani and Ronaldo set to go in the next 2 years. So if you're Martial, you're thinking Rangnick's there, I'm a technical player, I'm a player that Rangnick might like. I was a bit disappointed in the sense that I think Anthony Martial could have tried to go out and prove himself. I think he could try and go out and prove himself because he's been injured under Rangnick, and I think he would have given him a chance. But now he's come out saying he wants to leave, he wants game time. For me, it just means that there's no point giving a chance because he said basically he wants to leave publicly. And I think, I understand why Martial wants to leave 100%. But I think it's very, very disappointing in the timing that he wants to leave because you've just got a new manager in, and I think it speaks a lot about his mentality. Surely you'd want to go out and you'd want to fight for your space, you'd want to fight for your place and all that. And I think it would be a shame. Like, I know a lot of people don't rate Tony Martial in the fan base, but I've always been a big Tony Martial fan. He's got 30 goal contributions almost in that 19-20 season without a single penalty, with injuries, lack of service. He's a good player, Martial, but he hasn't been good in the last sort of years. Only 4 goals in 2021. It's been a very, very disappointing year and a year and a bit for Tony Martial. And, I guess based on form, it's going to be a struggle for him to get back into the team. But I know he's a player capable of being good enough to play for Manchester United. It's just he's obviously lacking confidence, hasn't got the consistency, and he's set to go. And I think that's a shame that we're going to lose Martial. But look, I also understand why Martial wants to leave. I don't think he's been treated the best at Manchester United. I think in the sense of, that really good season under Van Gaal, and then Mourinho was like, F off, give your number 9 shirt to Zlatan, blah, blah, blah. And then, he got bodied out of the way for Lukaku, shipped on the wing, and he wanted to be a striker. Then Oli puts his faith back in Martial, gives him the 9, makes him the main striker. He's absolutely brilliant when he's the 9, he's the main striker. We bring in Cavani, he's off on the wing again. Cavani's back centre, and he's gone a bit iffy. And maybe Martial likes being the main man, and I think, he gets told to bulk up because he's going to play in the middle, then he gets told to be slimmer because he's going to play on the wing. And I don't think the treatment of Martial has been brilliant, and I completely understand why he wants to leave. But I do think Martial will be a miss, and I think a lot of fans do underrate Martial as well. Please smash a like button on the video if you have not already. It pains me so much about Tony. It pains me about Martial because I know he's a really, really good player, but he's just not really lived up to his potential. He's seen in glimpses how good this guy can be, but he's definitely not lived up to his potential. And is it better for Martial to leave and bring in Timo Werner, says Viches. And look, I prefer Martial to Werner. Of course I do. Manchester United, Werner plays for Chelsea. But you've got to remember, Ralf Rangnick made Timo Werner a monster. And Timo Werner gets in the right positions. He makes the right choices. His finishing lets him down. If Timo Werner could finish like Ronaldo, Timo Werner would be a beast. And at the end of the day, we're going to lose Cavani in the summer. We're likely to lose Martial in January now. Manchester United do need a striker. And this is a very unpopular opinion of mine. I want us to go out and get Haaland in the summer. I want us to go out and get Haaland in the summer, but if we lose Martial, we lose Cavani, which will probably be the case in 2022. We do need a striker. And I would take Timo Werner because last summer, not the summer that's just gone, the summer before that, we'd all have taken Timo Werner in a heartbeat. It's not 100% worked out at Chelsea, but look at Lukaku. I always think this about Timo Werner. This is an unpopular opinion. Look at Lukaku. He's doing F all for Chelsea. And then maybe a Chelsea system just doesn't really suit a number 9. You know, Timo Werner could be like Timo Werner at Man United. Now, I prefer Martial to Timo Werner. If we lost Martial and we couldn't get Haaland, I would take Werner as a replacement. And everyone will probably think I'm mad. Everyone will probably think I'm deluded for saying that. But I generally would. I'm not lying about that whatsoever. And it sounds like Martial wants things on a silver platter. I think the way he wants to leave, and he's not even going to try and get back in the team under Rangnick, suggests that maybe he doesn't have the mentality that we thought he had. And must be honest, I hate it when players run their mouths like that. When player managers run their mouths like that, I don't like it. I don't like how he said he wants to leave. And it's only been a week under Rangnick. I think he could have chose a better time, definitely. And Lingard is a traitor. I wouldn't say Lingard's a traitor. If anything, Lingard's been betrayed. Look, Lingard was poor the other night versus Young Boys. I was disappointed with Lingard, but Lingard's been a good player. He's had some good moments this season. He's barely got any game time. He's rusty. And I think with Lingard, the same logic applies to Lingard that applies to Donny, that applies to Mata. You know, they're rusty. They don't play much. And you can see that in their legs. And I think my big issue with Jesse Lingard is not with Jesse Lingard, it's the way he's been treated. Jesse Lingard was absolutely brilliant at West Ham. He got back in that England squad, and I thought, we can get 20 million for Jesse Lingard. Why don't we stay him? And I could not understand for the life of me why Jesse Lingard decided to stay at Manchester United. Why did he decide to stay at Manchester United when he'd done so well at West Ham? We needed to sell him because we weren't obviously going to use him. He's going to be fighting behind Bruno. And, you know, he had offers, and he stayed at United, and I thought that was absolutely absurd that he stayed at United. And then for the next thing we know, you know, I think Jesse was promised game time at Man United. I think Jesse Lingard, and this is why I feel sorry for Lingard, he's not a traitor to me. I think he got betrayed by the club, because I think if Jesse Lingard knew he was going to get little to no game time, he would have left. Because at the end of the day, Jesse Lingard had a few sub appearances, got a goal and assist. He got that assist versus Villarreal when Ronaldo won it. He got the winning goal versus West Ham. You know, he's had some iffy games, but he's had some good games. And I think with the form we were in, especially under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, how poor we were, Jesse Lingard deserved more of a chance and more minutes than he was getting. And I generally believe Jesse was lied to by the club, told they were going to play him when they could have sold him 15, 20 million, and now we're going to lose him on a free. And for me, Jesse Lingard isn't a traitor. I 100,000,000% understand if Jesse Lingard wants to go to West Ham, because I know he was poor the other day, but I think with Lingard, one of the reasons he was poor the other day versus Young Boys is because his head's not there. His head's 100% not there. He's been lied to by the club. He thought he was going to get more minutes. He feels like he deserves more minutes, and he probably does with the form he's been in, and he's been all right. He was brilliant at West Ham. He's now out of the England squad, lacking confidence. His head's out of Man United. He needs to leave the club. And I love Lingard, and I'd love Lingard to stay, but there's no room for Lingard at Manchester United. He's one of my favourite players, but he needs to leave the club because he is good enough to be playing international football. He's good enough to be playing for a top 6 side in the Premier League, but he's not good enough to get into that Manchester United squad because we've got so many individuals that are younger and got a bigger future at Manchester United than him. He's a good squad player, but the problem is with Manchester United, we don't utilise the squad, especially under Ole. And I think for Lingard's career, it's time for him to go. And the thing is, I want Lingard to go to West Ham for Lingard's sake. I want Lingard to go to West Ham because it was a very, very good signing for West Ham, and it will make Lingard happy. And I know he'll be well. I know he'll be loved at West Ham. But I also don't want Lingard to go to West Ham because he'll help West Ham get top 4. You know, we're at Man United in a battle with West Ham for top 4, and this puts us in a position of: do we be selfish and not let Lingard go to West Ham because that's a threat to top 4, or do we let Lingard go to West Ham and put Lingard's feelings first? And in a sense, you know what, I love Manchester United. I think it's only right to let Lingard go to West Ham and let Lingard be happy, because I think he was lied to. I think we lied to him, saying, oh, Lingard, we're going to give you minutes if you stayed, and he didn't. So I'd let him go to West Ham, which will be a threat to top 4 and all of that, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Vishesh says, why you prefer Martial over Timo? Timo is better, faster, scores more goals and makes assists than Martial. Timo will become the fastest player at Man United. I think Timo Werner could be a good player for Man United. I just know how good Martial can be. But I know Timo Werner in the Bundesliga was absolutely brilliant. And Haaland is going to City. I'd be shocked if he went to United. United in on Declan Rice. Guys, how do you feel about Declan Rice, actually? Because he's a player. Declan Rice is one of them players that I did not rate. I never originally rated Declan Rice. I thought, oh, he's an overrated English player. And then right now, I tell you what, Declan Rice is an absolute baller. He's an absolute baller, Declan Rice. And he looks so good. And he walked right into that United side. And it's come out, and I think it's come out from Rob Dawson of ESPN, that Ralf Rangnick wants to get some midfielders in January. Ralf Rangnick identified Manchester United's midfield as an area of weakness in his interview with the club bosses and suggested players of interest there when he was being offered the job. And apparently Ralf Rangnick wants to bring in some midfielders to Manchester United, with Bellingham, HAIDARA, Calvin Phillips, Frenkie de Jong all being names linked to Manchester United in January. And we know that HAIDARA, who used RB Leipzig, we know that Ralf Rangnick's a big fan, even RB Leipzig know that Ralf Rangnick's a big fan of him, has, I think, a £30 million release clause. He's a CDM. And I think Ralf Rangnick's going to try and bring him in January. Will the Glazers pay that release clause? We'll have to wait and see. But another name we've been linked to is with Martial leaving in January, maybe Frenkie de Jong, with Martial being an interest of Barcelona. Frenkie de Jong could also be another player headed to Manchester United. And I will get in more depth about that, guys. Do not worry. And do let me know your score predictions down below for Manchester United versus Norwich. Do let them down below. And Gaz says Lingard should stick to selling clothes. I disagree with you, Gaz. I think Lingard's a really, really good footballer. He was poor the other day. I think he's a good footballer. He's lacking confidence because we saw it for West Ham. We've seen it for United in the past. And I think he needs to go to West Ham and be back under Moisey. And I just want Lingard to be happy. You know when there's certain players that you just want them to be happy. There's certain Man United players like Lingard that even when they're bad, I still like Lingard. Even when Lingard's not playing well for us, I still like him because he's got a personality. I sound like Ollie. He's got United DNA. He's got United personality. But do you know what I mean? Like, Lingard's a very likeable player because he's got a good attitude, and I think he has not been treated the best. And I think he's had issues off the pitch. But he's a player that I just want to see happy. I just want to see scoring goals. Like, that's how I feel about Lingard. And a lot of United players in general. And that's why I just think he needs to go to West Ham. He needs to pick up that David Moisey form. And Dave said he used to think Rice was overrated, but he's changed his mind. And Ronaldo will score 2 tomorrow. You're thinking United are going to win 7-0 versus Norwich. Matt, I hope we do. I hope we do. I tell you this. Manchester United are the only team in the Premier League to not score a goal within the first 15 minutes of the game this season. And it's coming tomorrow versus Norwich. We're going to go 1-0 up within 15 minutes. And it's going to be Mr. Ronaldo. And we're going to be Viva Ronaldoing in the live stream tomorrow. I call that. I predict that. We'll wait and see if that is the case. And I saw the ESPN report. Carver isn't happening. Leeds will sign him an extension before transfer. That's how you monetize transfers. 100%. I do not think we'll get Calvin Phillips, and I do not want Calvin Phillips. We've been linked to Calvin Phillips. We've been linked to HAIDARA. We've been linked to Rice. We've been linked to Bellingham. We've been linked to DEJONG. I think realistically, if Manchester United are going to bring in a CDM in January, it's going to be HAIDARA, ZAKARIA, or Frank Kessie. Now, the reason I name these 3 names is because the only 3 CDMs that I know will 100% be available in January are ZAKARIA, HAIDARA, and Frank Kessie as of now. They might not be available come January. They might sign contracts. They might have agreed deals with other clubs. But we're not going to get Bellingham in January. Leeds are not going to give us Calvin Phillips in January. We're not going to get Declan Rice in January. And maybe we can get Frenkie de Jong in a Barcelona swap deal. But I still think a player like Frenkie de Jong is so important to Barcelona that they wouldn't want to do business until come the summer. If Manchester United are going to be bringing anyone in come January, it's going to be HAIDARA for the 30 million release clause or ZAKARIA or Kessie. I tell you that now. And we know Ralf Rangnick wants a midfielder. We know what midfield has been identified as a position that Manchester United want. And we know with ZAKARIA and we know with Kessie, they're out of contract in the summer. Kessie and ZAKARIA are 2 CDMs that will benefit the United side, especially ZAKARIA with Ralf Rangnick being familiar with him with his Bundesliga stuff. They will be under £20 million. HAIDARA, ZAKARIA, and Kessie. We could get all 3 of them for under £30 million. We could get one of the 3 for under £30 million. ZAKARIA and Kessie are likely to be under £20 million because they're out of contract in summer. So unless ZAKARIA and Kessie agree to join another club or sign a contract in summer, they are very realistic transfer target for Manchester United come January. And I think if we are going to sign anyone in January and we can't get HAIDARA from Leipzig, we will be getting ZAKARIA or we will be getting Kessie. And I think with the fact with Martial leaving, with Lingard leaving in January, the fact that there are going to be outs in January, there's potentially going to be up to 6 players leaving Manchester United in 2022. I think it's very likely that we are going to bring in a CDM. I actually do believe we're going to sign someone this January. If you'd asked me a month ago, I said we're not buying anyone in January. I know the Glazers, but the fact that Martial's set to go, the fact that Lingard's going in January tells me we are definitely buying another midfielder in January. With Ralf Rangnick coming in, with Ralf Rangnick talking to the squad, with the lack of depth we have in midfield, I think it's clear that we will sign a midfielder in January. And I think when you have ZAKARIA and Kessie available for so cheap because they don't have, they're out of contract in the summer, we can get them for so cheap, and they're in a role that we need. I think that is definitely likely to happen, or there's definitely potential for something to happen there. Guys, please do smash your like on the video if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, update and more. Smash a like, smash a subscribe, smash a share on the video and all of that. I've got a comment saying, will Varane play tomorrow? Ralf Rangnick was asked about Varane in his press conference. Although Varane's back in training, although Varane is probably just about fit to play tomorrow, I've been told, and the elite lineup also says that Varane will not play tomorrow. The situation with Rafael Varane is, you know, if it was Ollie, Varane would play tomorrow because Ollie would rush him back. But I think what Ralf Rangnick's seen is Ollie rushed back Varane and he got injured again. Although Varane is sort of fit to play, he's not really 100% fit. So we're not going to see Varane tomorrow, in my opinion. And the elite lineup I've been sent also doesn't have Varane in. And I will get into that. I will tell you the changes made to the lineup that I've been told. They might not be 100% true, but I've been told the lineup, and it doesn't have Varane and it doesn't have Cavani. Varane is on the bench though, reportedly, but that's just that's just reports. That's not from the elite lineup. But Varane is back from injury, but he won't play tomorrow. I mean, he might play. I don't know, but I've been given no indication that he'll start Varane because they don't want to risk him getting another injury. Really good comment here from Diego saying Martial is on high wages. Who is going to pay it? And this is the situation again with Martial wanting to leave in January. He's the I think he's the third or fourth highest paid player at Man United. I think it goes Ronaldo, De Gea, Pogba, then Martial. I think Martial's the fourth highest paid player at Manchester United on something crazy like £250,000 a week. So it's going to be very, very hard to sell Martial. And if Martial wants to leave Manchester United, he's going to have to take a fat wage cut. And, you know, although Martial's rumoured to leave in January, although it's likely for Martial to leave in January, it's still not a definite. You know, Ralf Rangnick, despite Martial publicly saying he wants to leave, might go, Tony, I'm going to give you a chance. I want you to change your mind. If, you know, Ralf Rangnick might give him a chance and he becomes good and he plays. Or we might not be able to sell Martial in January because his wages are so high. And the only way we're really going to be able to sell Martial in January is if he agrees to lower his wages for game time. And Martial's whole reasoning for leaving Manchester United is because he wants to be playing regular football. And so I do believe, you know, if Martial's willing to lower his wages, then yes, he will leave Manchester United. But he's on absolutely ridiculous wages. Someone asked if it's an unchanged lineup tomorrow. From what I'm aware and what I'm told, that there's two changes in the lineup tomorrow. The first, obviously, being Greenwood into Rashford, but it's very, very similar to the lineup that beat Crystal Palace. Someone said happy birthday. Oh no, I've misread that. I thought someone said happy birthday, Alice, in the chat. I absolutely misread that. And good, the squad is too big. We are stacked with underperforming players. Guys, I'm going to talk about the 6 players set to leave Manchester United in 2022 and some of the players set to join Manchester United in 2022. Smash your like on the video if you have not already. If your glaze is out, smash that like button. Smash the like button if you want the glazes out the club. But get into the content. Okay, Martial wants to leave in January 2022. He will be sold if we can sell him, and he's not in Rangnick's plan. Jesse Lingard will leave Manchester United in January. I think he will want to move to West Ham, but I don't know if Man United are going to let Lingard move to West Ham because we're in stiff competition with West Ham for top 4. And I think that'll be interesting to see how that plans out. But I think United would also want to sell Jesse Lingard in January so we don't lose him for free in the summer. Martial and Lingard going in January. Leaving in the summer. Paul Pogba is leaving Manchester United in the summer for free. Edison Cavani is leaving Manchester United in the summer for free. Dean Henderson will leave Manchester United in the summer, maybe even in January if he can get a move. That is 5 key players I've named that are leaving Manchester United in the summer. Jesse Lingard, Martial, or in 2022, sorry, Paul Pogba, Cavani, and Dean Henderson. That's 5 players. Matic is also set to retire come summer, and I think he will retire. I mean, Matt is also set to go. It's set to go. That's 7 players. Matt is not going to be a massive loss, but that is 7 losses to the squad in summer. So we do have a lot of work to do in summer and in January. If we lose Martial, if we lose Lingard in January, I believe we will sign a player in January. I do not believe we're going to get Frenkie de Jong in January. I think Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United is something that could happen in the summer because I think he's too big of a player for Barcelona to lose. However, with Barcelona's financial crisis, they might maybe not be able to have a say in the matter. And I actually do want to discuss something before I get into some news, is that Ten Hag is ready to leave Ajax at the end of the season. Ten Hag has publicly said he's ready for a new challenge at the end of the season. And we know that Ralf Rangnick is a big admirer of Erik Ten Hag. We know Ralf Rangnick is a big admirer of Erik Ten Hag. And I think it's funny that, you know, Erik Ten Hag is now the favourite to get the Manchester United job in the summer, and we are getting linked to Frenkie de Jong. And I always say about this, you know, play Donny, keep Donny, get de Jong in, get Ten Hag in. Ten Hag, Donny and Frenkie de Jong at Manchester United come summer. Like, that is nice, and that is potentially a potential there as well with the DEJONG links. I don't think we'll get DEJONG in January, despite Barca wanting Martial and maybe some swap deal can do place. But I do think, with the rumours that Ten Hag wants to join Manchester United in the summer, the rumours that we will go for Ten Hag in summer, and the rumours linking us to Frenkie de Jong, I do go, well, it might not happen. It's very far away now. It's a couple of months away at least. But De Jong and Erik ten Hag in summer, I mean, who says no to that, guys? Let me know your thoughts on that down below. But back to my talking point. Martial is leaving, Lingard's leaving, Pogba's leaving, Cavani's leaving, and Dean Henderson are leaving. Martial and Lingard are leaving in January. Dean Henderson possibly leaving in January as well. I think that's why we played Tom Heaton. A lot of people saying, why do we bring Tom Heaton on? Like, Dean Henderson never plays. He wants to test Tom Heaton as a backup keeper. Give him some minutes, because I think Dean Henderson is going to go on loan in January. And you've also got Paul Pogba and Cavani that will leave in the summer for free. And we're in a position where we're going to have a lot of work to do in the summer. We're going to have to replace Paul Pogba. So we need two midfielders, and we already need a midfielder now, but we've also got to replace Paul Pogba. So Manchester United have got to look at getting two midfielders in the summer, and I think that's why Ralf Rangnick is telling the board he really needs a midfielder. And I think this is one of the reasons Ralf Rangnick's really emphasising he wants a midfielder, he wants to bring a CDM in January. And this is why I do believe now that United are likely to go out and get a CDM in January, because Ralf Rangnick wants a CDM. He said that we need a midfielder. There's not enough depth there. He actively wants a CDM. And I think Manchester United, we're obviously linked to HAIDARA. There's also ZAKARIA and KESSIE that will be available for cheap in January. I think, with Lingard going, with Martial going, with Pogba and Cavani set to leave in the summer, United will be needing two midfielders and a striker, and potentially even a fullback, depending on, who the new manager wants. If Erik ten Hag gets the job, he might not like Telles, he might not like Delot. We've got a lot of work to do in January come summer, and I do believe this United going for HAIDARA, going to pay £30 million release, because I actually think could happen. I do think we'll get rid of Martial, we get rid of Lingard, we bring HAIDARA in, and then come summer we go for Frenkie de Jong, we go for Haaland, we go for Erik ten Hag. That's personally what I believe the case could be at Manchester United. Because I know that Ten Hag wants the job. I know that Rangnick annoys Ten Hag. Frenkie de Jong would be perfect to fit next to Donny and Fred in that midfield, exactly. He'd be a good Paul Pogba replacement. We have been linked to Jude Bellingham and Yuri Tielemans to replace Paul Pogba as well. But I still think, I love Bellingham. I'd love Bellingham at Manchester United. We know that Ralf Rangnick's a big admirer of Bellingham. He watches a lot of German football. I still think Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United is most likely the case, especially with the Erik ten Hag links come summer. And, we are favourites to get Erik ten Hag. And Erik ten Hag is the favourite to get the Manchester United job in the summer, because Rangnick prefers Ten Hag to Pochettino. He's a big admirer of Ten Hag, but Ten Hag worked in the Bundesliga with Pep. He's the most sought after young boss in football right now. And I think, the fact that we're playing Donny, I think Rangnick will want to hold on to Donny. Donny was a player that Fabrizio Romano said a month ago when Ollie was still in the job. Donny's 100% leaving in January if Ollie stays. Fabrizio Romano said Donny van de Beek will 100% leave in January if Ollie stays. And have you noticed that Donny's coming off the bench? Donny's getting minutes all of a sudden, because I think Man United have gone, fuck, we can't lose Donny in January, because if the long-term plan is to get Ten Hag and you lose Donny in January, Ten Hag's going to be wanting him back. He's going to be wanting him back, especially Man United need to put special attention on to Donny, giving him minutes, because if you're losing Paul Pogba and Matic in the summer for absolutely free, you're losing Cavani and you already need a CDM, and you're losing Martial and you're losing Lingard, you're losing all those midfielders in the summer. You 100% need Donny van de Beek at the bloody club. Because otherwise, our only midfielders left would be Muck, Fred, and Bruno. We'd literally have three midfielders, Muck, Fred, and Bruno. Because Lingard's gone, Pogba's gone, Matic is retired. If Donny goes, we're absolutely screwed. And I think Ralf Rangnick's going to make Donny feel very, very important. I think Ralf Rangnick's going to want to make Donny feel very, very involved. I think Ralf Rangnick has a lot of faith in Donny. The fact that Donny played in a pivot basically by himself, because Lingard and Mata were absolutely useless at tracking back, gave absolutely no help. But Donny did that pivot role by himself. And that is a very trusting thing to do. Playing a CDM by yourself with two attacking midfielders ahead of you when you're not an out-and-out CDM. And Rangnick put that faith in Donny. And although Donny made a mistake for the goal, if you take away Donny's mistake for the goal and that backwards pass, he had a very, very good performance, a very, very good all-round performance. And I believe Donny van de Beek has a good future ahead of himself at Manchester United. I think he will be involved in Manchester United come the future. And I think, now he's no longer leaving in January. It's Lingard leaving in January. It's Martial leaving in January. It's Dean Henderson leaving in January. And I think Ralf Rangnick's long-term plan is to keep hold of Donny van de Beek, bring someone like HAIDARA in, and see if he can keep a Paul Pogba. But the fact that Ralf Rangnick said to United he wants to see them, he wants midfielders in January, I think is promising, especially with Martial and Lingard out rumours. If Manchester United sell players, we'll get someone in. I am going to get into the elite lineup. I am going to get into the Norwich preview in just a second, guys. So just hold on. But what I want to say is, I never believed we were going to buy anyone in January. If someone said to me a month ago, I said, we're not signing anyone in January, it will be Donny leaving. I thought a month ago, Donny will leave, we won't sign anyone in January. I thought that was the case. Right now, I believe the case at Manchester United is if we sell players in January, we will sign players in January. If Martial and Lingard go, we will bring in a CDM in January. I think that's the case. We will try go for HAIDARA, but I honestly say to you guys, keep an eye on ZAKARIA to Manchester United. Keep an eye on KESSIE to Manchester United. I know the links with ZAKARIA and KESSIE are not that strong, but ZAKARIA is out of contract in the summer. Ralf Rangnick's a fan of him. Ralf Rangnick's a fan of the Bundesliga. He will be available for under £20 million in January. They want to get rid of him. I know he's injury-ridden, and maybe he's not the best long-term option, but when United are crying out for a CDM, because we'd have a lack of depth in that position, I would keep an eye on ZAKARIA, because even if McTominay and Fred become the next Iniesta and Xavi in that midfield, they can't play week in, week out. The fixture list is getting dense and dense and dense. And Ralf Rangnick's football requires squad rotation. It's very, very draining. It's very, very exhausting. I would keep an eye on ZAKARIA to Manchester United. I'd keep an eye on ZAKARIA to Manchester United. Guys, we're on 100 likes. Let's go for 300 likes. So smash that like button if you Glazers out. If you want the Glazers out of this club, smash that like button. Start Donny says G. Is Donny van de Beek going to start tomorrow, guys? I believe he won't. I want Donny van de Beek to start tomorrow, but from what I'm aware, Donny won't be starting tomorrow. Let me tell you what I've been told regarding the lineup tomorrow. Let me get the lineup up. So it's going to be a 4-2-2 tomorrow, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm not a source of credibility. I just get told things from people and I make assumptions. So this is not a confirmed lineup or anything, but this is what I've been told, that Greenwood will be playing ahead of Rashford. Greenwood will be playing ahead of Rashford. I've been told that on Twitter. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll have to wait and see tomorrow. But we know De Gea is going to play. Ralf Rangnick says that De Gea is his number one choice. We know that Delot will play with that Wan-Bissaka injury. And I believe that Tellez will play because he was very, very good versus Crystal Palace. Luke Shaw still not 100% fit. And, Tellez is undroppable. Although Bailly put in a masterclass performance, as far as I'm aware, and what I've been told, it will still be Maguire and Lindelof playing. But hopefully Bailly will get some more chances along the line because he has put in some really good performances. I think we could even potentially see this, but Lindelof's almost been undroppable at the moment as well. But I've been told that it's Lindelof playing. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Bailly along the line. And I will tell you my ideal lineup in just a second, but I will put Bailly under there. Because there was rumours about Lindelof having a knock as well. So I don't know if that is the case. As far as I'm aware, it's going to be Fred and Scott in the pivot tomorrow. Look, we all want to see Donny in place for Scott McTominay. I think we all do. I think defensively, and I will say this about the Young Boys game, I know Donny made a mistake, but actually, when you look at Donny's stats, you look at Donny's heat maps, you look at the performance analysis on Donny van de Beek's performance versus Young Boys, he made the most tackles, he made the most interceptions, he made the most passes. Donny van de Beek was highly involved in the game. And although Scott McTominay had a very, very good first half versus Crystal Palace, he was a ghost in the second half. And in fairness to Scott McTominay, I think he was exhausted. I'm not going to go into him. But one thing I picked out from the Young Boys game, actually, guys, was I felt that Donny van de Beek is more defensively aware than Scott McTominay and actually defensively better than Scott McTominay. There's this sort of rumour and myth that Scott's good defensively and he's good off the ball. And I don't think that's the case. I think Scott McTominay's strength is when he gets forward, when he runs into the box, when he makes those forward runs, which he's only allowed to do when he's allowed to go forward. I think, Scott McTominay's weakness is actually defence. And I actually think that Donny van de Beek is a better defender than Scott McTominay. He just lacks maybe the physicality. I think in terms of a tackler, in terms of reading the game, in terms of interceptions, Donny's numbers per minute are a lot better than Scott's. And I felt defensively, Donny van de Beek was a lot stronger than Scott McTominay. And I'd like to see Donny van de Beek in the pivot for Scott McTominay. But Scott McTominay's had a week's rest. That team's won 2 games in a row with Scott and Fred in the pivot. Ralf Rangnick is going to give Donny chances. Ralf Rangnick's talked about the importance of squad rotation, and I believe we will see Scott McTominay start with Fred tomorrow versus Norwich. But I do think in 2 days versus Brentford, it could be Fred and Donny. But the thing about Ralf Rangnick is, the more and more he gets to know the squad, he's going to give opportunities. He's not afraid to give opportunities. But what I think about Ralf Rangnick is he's going to play Scott and Fred against Norwich tomorrow, from what I've been told. But we've got Brentford 3 days after Norwich. He's going to play Fred and Donny. He's going to change up. He's not going to. With Ollie, it's Scott and Fred every game, and he'll rotate Ronaldo, he'll rotate Cavani, he'll even rotate Lick to Lindelof. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Michael Carrick. They'd rotate every player but McFred. But under Ralf Rangnick, we're going to see McFred tomorrow. Unless it's an injury, unless what I've been told is wrong, we're going to see McFred tomorrow. But I believe you won't see McFred versus Brentford and McFred the next Premier League game. I think we'll see McFred tomorrow, but I think we'll see subtle changes made. You know, I think we'll see subtle changes made to the lineup. Although the only change tomorrow is meant to be Greenwood in for Rashford, I think as time goes on, you'll see Donny in for McTominay and Bailly in for Maguire and Varane implemented in, and maybe Martial given some minutes, and maybe Cavani given some minutes. And I think there will be some, you know, sort of changes in that sense. Ray says, I think Rangnick will stay as our manager for 2 years, as Ajax manager still has 2 years contract left, the same as Van der Sar. I mean, look, if he does a good job, I think Ralf Rangnick could stay at Manchester United longer, but I don't want that to happen because I want him in that consultancy role. I want him making decisions. Ten Hag says he's happy to leave Ajax at the end of the season if an opportunity comes. He wouldn't leave Ajax mid-season, but he's ready for a new challenge come end of the season. Guys, please do smash a like on the video if you have not already, and subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, please do smash that like button. Please do smash that subscribe button. I'm going to be live tomorrow for a Manchester United versus Norwich watch along, so do make sure you subscribe so you can stay tuned for the Manchester United versus Norwich watch along and match reaction. We're 30 subscribers away from 25.6k, so please do subscribe and smash a like if you have not already. Got a couple comments to go through. Badashil, instead of renewing 300k wages on Maguire, Badashil is an absolute baller. And Raheem says, should we go for DeJong? Pressing isn't his style. We need a Matic type DM, prefer to Chimini or something for Paulinho. DeJong is a Paul Pogba replacement in the summer. United are going through CDM in January, and we're going for a Paul Pogba replacement this summer. DeJong is about the summer. We could potentially get DeJong in January with rumours about a Martial DeJong swap deal, but I don't think that's the case. And Dave says that Fred is a million times better than Scott McTominay, but gets more hate than him. And you know what, Dave? I agree with your comment. And listen to me, you guys. If Fred was an academy product, if Fred was British, he would be a lot more appreciated than he is right now. I believe Fred is a better player than Scott McTominay. I've always said that. I think, you know, Fred's more technical. He's proven it over a longer period in Brazil, his wider career, you know, at Istanbul. I think Fred is a better player than McTominay. However, I still think there could be a good player in McTominay. I think we've criticised McTominay a lot. I think a lot of people have criticised McTominay. But remember this for Scott McTominay. Remember this for Scott McTominay. He is a player being played out of position, I feel. I think he's a box-to-box player. I think he does his best work going forward. But he's having to do this defensive role to maybe make up for the fact that we don't have a CDM and we don't have many people in that area. I think he's very Dan Fletcher-esque. I think he is a little bit underappreciated, but I don't believe he's proven himself to be good enough to start for Manchester United week in, week out. And I think with Scott's consistent poor performances, it should be Donny and Fred in the pivot. Let me actually go back to the lineup, guys, because I've completely neglected the lineup and I've gone an absolute waffle. But Sancho is playing tomorrow and Bruno is playing tomorrow. This is what I've been told is the lineup tomorrow. This is what I've been told is the lineup tomorrow. I heard a rumour that Lindelof got a knock, but I don't know what the situation is on that. I've been told this is the lineup for tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. I could be completely wrong. We could see Cavani play. We could see Varane play. We could see Donny play. You know, but this is what I've told happen. It's just one change. Greenwood for Rashford. And look, even if this isn't the lineup, if I was going to predict a lineup, I'd probably predict something like this, because at the end of the day, you've also got to remember everyone on this team, apart from Greenwood, has had a week rest. And I think Ralf Rangnick wants people with fresh legs versus Norwich, because what we've noticed in our last two games is in the second half, we've dropped off. We've really started to tire in the second half. And that is because, the players in the second game against Young Boys, they were rusty. They're not fully match fit. But the players in the first game versus Crystal Palace had played about, 4 games in about 9 days. And I think Ralf Rangnick wants lots of fresh players playing that aren't going to be able to drop off in the second half. So I sort of would predict that this would be the lineup as well. Please do smash a like on the video, guys, if you have not already. We're going for 300 likes. Calvin says that Donny wasn't good against Young Boys. I thought Donny van der Beek was good against Young Boys. I think if he didn't make that mistake, Donny would be up there with Bailly and Greenwood from out of the match. I genuinely believe that would be the case. I think Donny was fine versus Young Boys. I don't get why a lot of people were saying that he was bad. The way I look at it is this Donny van der Beek isn't 100% match sharp. He's playing in the CDM role by himself. Fred and Scott McTominay, they play in the CDM role together. Donny was by himself with Mata and Lingard ahead of him, having an absolutely useless game. Donny was the most involved player in the game. He made the most passes. He made the most tackles. He had the most touches of the ball. I don't think Donny had a bad game. And I don't know why people think Donny had a bad game. I think the problem is, someone scores one goal, they have a good game. You can have an absolute stinking game. You score one goal, you have a good game. Someone could have an absolutely brilliant game. They give away a goal, they give away a penalty, they have a shit game. And I think that's that thing in football where people look at one moment out of a whole game and say, oh, wow, look at that. And this was what we did last year in a positive way with Manchester United. We won a lot of games last season. where we didn't deserve to win that game. There's a lot of games last season where we didn't deserve to win the game, but we win the game because of a moment of magic. And a lot of people would say, oh, Rashford had a good game because he scored the winner. But when you looked over the whole 90 minutes, Rashford was a ghost for 89 minutes and he went and scored the winner. Because he scored the winner, he got the 3 points. So you can't say he had a bad game. But when you look at it, did Rashford have a good game? No. And I think that's the same mentality with Donny. He made the mistake. He's had a shit game. No, if you actually look over it, you look over the situation, Donny had a good game and you made a mistake. And I think the problem is a lot of people jump to conclusions. They go, oh, you scored the goal, you're obviously good. You made a mistake, you're obviously bad. But when you look at the games of full 90 minutes, and we've got to analyse the games of full 90 minutes, I think that Donny van der Beek, I thought he had a good game. That's just my opinion. But everyone's to their own. Everyone sees things differently and all of that. Where is Donny in your lineup? Well, what I do want to do, guys, is smash a like on the video as well. This is my ideal Manchester United lineup. This is my ideal Manchester United lineup. If I was Manchester United manager, this is what we would see. We would see Eric Bailly. I think Lindelof's been good. I personally wouldn't drop Lindelof. But if I was Manchester United manager, this is what I would do. I would play Eric Bailly, and let's assume Varane's fit. Varane is sort of fit, but I don't think he's fit enough to start versus Norwich. I think that's the case. Greenwood's my favourite player, but Cavani is Cavani. This is what I would do. If I was Manchester United manager, this would be my lineup. This would be my first choice lineup. I don't know what yours is actually. Do let me know down below. I'd absolutely love to see this. And I think, one day we will see this under Ralf Rangnick, because he's not, remember this about Ralf Rangnick, guys. He's not afraid to rotate. He's not afraid to make changes. He's not scared. Ollie was a coward manager. And I don't want to talk about Ollie too much. He's done. It's in the past and all of that. But, it's only been a couple of weeks. Ollie was a coward manager. And under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you saw very little rotation. You saw McFred. You saw part of the bus football. You saw sort of scared to lose football under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Under Ralf Rangnick, and he's made this quite clear, Ralf Rangnick is not afraid to rotate. Ralf Rangnick's not afraid to drop players. Ralf Rangnick's not afraid to make changes. And although versus Norwich tomorrow, it's basically an unchanged squad with Greenwood in for Rashford, I believe, Brentford on Tuesday, is he going to play the exact same team that beat Norwich? Well, I'm assuming we're beating Norwich against Brentford. No, he's going to want to rest players because he's going to go, you know what? I can't play the same players every single game. I've got a lot of games coming up. And we might see little changes, like Donny van der Beek come on for McTominay, or Matic come in for Fred, or, Bruno be rested and maybe Paul Pogba when he's back playing that role, or Rashford come on for Greenwood, and Martial come on, and Lingard come on, and Sancho drops, and Cavani in, and Langer in, and what really stuck out to me about Ralf Rangnick is, and remember this, guys, Ralf Rangnick had half a day's training with the Manchester United squad. He'd only been with the squad for half a day. He had to cancel training because of the rain, and he'd only had a couple hours to work with the team. And you're 0-0 versus Crystal Palace. You want to win that game. And what does Rangnick do? He takes off Rashford and he brings on Elanga. And I thought, wow, this manager is not afraid to give chances. This manager is not Ollie. He's not a coward manager. He's not going to stick with his favourites. Under Ollie, Rashford would have played the full 90 minutes. And Rashford wasn't brilliant versus Crystal Palace. And I like Rashford. He's a good player. He's a match winner. I understand keeping Rashford on for 90 minutes because he's a match winner. But what I liked about Rangnick is he barely knew Elanga. He had half a day's training with the squad, and he thought, fuck it, I'm bringing Rashford off. I'm giving Elanga the chance. And the fact that Rangnick did that tells me, and I think it tells us fringe players like Donny van der Beek, Amad Diallo, all of those that want to get into the squad, you will get a chance under Ralf Rangnick. He will bring you on. He will give you opportunities. And I think that, for me, really stood out from that game. You let a 19-year-old come on at 0-0 and give him 20 minutes in a game like that he needed to win. He took off one of his more experienced players, an actual match winger, and brought in a 19-year-old he knew nothing about that had spent half a day training with him. It's not like Elanga had been training impressively for 3 months. One impressive training session and Elanga gets his chance. And we used to hear these stories just before Ollie was sacked, just after the Liverpool loss, just after the Watford loss, just before Ollie was sacked. All these stories came out about how Manchester United players were complaining how, Donny would look so good in training and never get a chance. And there was all those stories coming out saying, oh, Donny looks so good in training and the players don't get why Donny doesn't get a chance and all that. And this player's so good in training, but they don't get a chance. We know from Elanga, you have one good training session, you get a chance. And I know, you know, we'll see McFred tomorrow versus Norwich. I believe we'll see McFred tomorrow versus Norwich. But I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, McFred, he's playing McFred, he's no different to Ollie. Because I know if Donny has a couple of impressive training sessions and he played Donny in the pivot by himself versus young boys, he's not afraid to make changes. He's not a coward manager like Ollie. And I want to reiterate that to you guys. If we see McFred tomorrow, and I've been told it's McFred tomorrow, do not lose your shit. Do not go, oh, it's McFred, because remember, it's a clean slate for McFred. Fred's actually been very, very good lately, and McTominay did have a good first half versus Crystal Palace, and he looked knackered. So do not complain if we see McFred tomorrow, because I know in a couple of weeks' time, it will be Donny and Fred every now and then. It could be Matic and Fred. It could be McTominay and Donny. I know there will be changes made, and I know it's not going to be McFred every single game that's important to us, because I know Rangnick as a manager wants to change it up. And I know, you know, if McTominay has some really, really good games, of course he's going to keep his spot in the squad, because, you know, if he's playing well, you want to play him. But if McTominay has a few poor games, and even Fred, you know, has a few poor games and played like they did in some of the games under Ollie, in that Liverpool 5-0 loss, in that Man City 2-0 loss, then of course they're going to be dropped by Rangnick, because that's the manager he is. But I'd say, look, when you see McFred in the lineup tomorrow, and if we do see McFred in the lineup tomorrow, do not lose your shit about it. They've had a week's rest. They've won 2 games in a row. Why wouldn't Rangnick pick them? Why wouldn't Rangnick pick them? It's a fresh start for them. We want to see Donny and Fred, of course we do. But if he picks McTominay over Donny, I have no issue with it, because McTominay is a good player. I think he's a good player, but he hasn't proven if he's good enough to play for United week in, week out. And he has a fresh start under Rangnick to do that. He has an absolute fresh start under Rangnick to do that. And all of that. So that's sort of my opinion on the situation. But of course, people are down to disagree and all of that. We've got a comment here. Would you take Federico Chiesa at United? I think he's a good player, but we just don't really need a winger. I guess if we lose Martial and Cavani, then I would take him, because we do need a winger. And Paul says Ralf Rangnick's red and white army. Guys, smash a like for Ralf Rangnick's red and white army. Smash a like if you're a big Ralf Rangnick fan. And a comment here from Patricio says Wan-Bissaka out. And I do want to address this, actually. Okay, I do want to address this. There's a lot of people out there that don't like Wan-Bissaka at the moment. I think Wan-Bissaka has come a little bit of a target in the community. And I think we do this thing. And I think sometimes I'm capable of it myself, where sometimes, you know, there's a player that you just go, oh, it's their fault, oh, it's their fault. And, you know, and I think with Wan-Bissaka, okay, has he been brilliant this season? No. Has he been good in 2021? He's been okay. But I don't think Wan-Bissaka's been as bad as people make him out to be. I don't think Wan-Bissaka's been as bad as people make him out to be. And I want to say this about Wan-Bissaka. I think he's becoming a bit of a scapegoat. I think at the beginning of the season, Fred was the scapegoat, and I think Fred had reasons to be the scapegoat. He was absolutely shocking in his first couple of games. I think McTominay's more recently become the scapegoat, and I understand why, because he's had some shocking games, and I think Wan-Bissaka's the scapegoat. But the problem is, I think in this fan base, when a player becomes a scapegoat, if they have an okay game, everyone thinks they have a shit game. And I think Wan-Bissaka's had a few okay games where everyone's gone, oh, he's had a shit game, he's had a shit game. And I'm going, no, he's just a scapegoat in his fan base. And although Delo's had 2 good games, I think we're quite reactionary as a fan base. And I think we all do it. We're okay with doing it. But we see people saying Delo's already clear of Wan-Bissaka. It's like, okay, Delo's had 2 good games, and he's been better than Wan-Bissaka in those 2 good games. But we've seen Delo have some shocking games. We've seen Delo have some defensive mares. Why are we saying after 2 games Delo is clear of Wan-Bissaka as a fan base, saying he's so much better? We've got to judge them at the end of the season, because you cannot go off 2 games from Delo to say he's a better player than Wan-Bissaka. Because you know what? There was a time when people were saying Brandon Williams was better than Luke Shaw, because Brandon Williams had 3 good games. And look at it, is Brandon Williams better than Luke Shaw? No. And although Delo right now is better than Wan-Bissaka, and I've picked Delo over Wan-Bissaka right now, I think as a fan base, the fact they're saying, oh, 2 games, Delo's clear Wan-Bissaka, it's so reactionary. I feel the same about Wan-Bissaka as I do with McTominay, I do with Fred, I do with Luke Shaw, I do with Maguire. It's a fresh start for Wan-Bissaka. And in Wan-Bissaka's first season, he was very, very good for Manchester United. We've seen Wan-Bissaka put in some world-class performances. We've seen him, pocket Neymar. We've seen him in pocket Mbappe. We've seen Wan-Bissaka pocket Neymar, pocket Mbappe. Sterling can't play in the Manchester derby anymore because Wan-Bissaka's absolutely messed them up in the head. Sterling didn't have a chance versus Wan-Bissaka. And they are some of the best wingers in world football, some of the best wingers ever that Wan-Bissaka's dealt with. But the problem with Wan-Bissaka in the last year and a bit is we're saying, oh, he's out of position, he's letting in crosses in his side, he's tucking in. I think with Wan-Bissaka, all of his issues are very much coaching problems. And this is how I feel about Wan-Bissaka. He might not be good enough for Manchester United, and he might leave, and he might be a £50 million flop, and he might never be good enough, and he might just be a mid-table player. But let's not make that assumption right now when he's still young, when he has had some good games and we've got new coaches and there's a fresh start, it's room to improve. Because I feel with Wan-Bissaka, and it's an unpopular opinion of mine, and I know a lot of people don't like Wan-Bissaka and they think he's not good enough. And look, maybe he isn't good enough. But if his issues are conceding crosses on his side and positionally, and I think actually going forward, yes, he's not as good as Trent, he's not as good as James, he's not as good as Cancelo. Defensively, I think actually his issue has been more defensively lately, letting in crosses on the side. But let's let Ralf Rangnick and his coaches work with Wan-Bissaka. Let's get that performance analysis to analyse Wan-Bissaka, analyse his game. And maybe Rangnick says to Wan-Bissaka, why are you tucking in? Why are you coming so central? Maybe the performance analysis says to Wan-Bissaka, you're letting in crosses on your side. Maybe the performance analysis goes to Wan-Bissaka and the coaches go to Wan-Bissaka, you need to be positioned here. You need to do this to stop crosses in your side. You need to do this. Let's see what Wan-Bissaka's like with some good coaches, good training. Let's see. Same with Dalot, same with Wan-Bissaka. Let's judge them at the end of the season. I don't like this thing in the fan base right now where it's a competition between Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. I like Dalot, I like Wan-Bissaka. I would personally start Dalot versus Norwich because it's Norwich. We want to break them down. We need that more attacking threat, and Dalot's been good in his last 2 games. He doesn't deserve to be dropped. I would start Dalot tomorrow. But I don't like how people are comparing Dalot and Wan-Bissaka and making it competition. Dalot and Wan-Bissaka both play for Manchester United. In my eyes, I want both Dalot and Wan-Bissaka to be good for Manchester United whenever they play and give us the debate of, oh my God, who should play Dalot or Wan-Bissaka? It's such a hard pick. Do you know what I mean? I want them both to be good. I'm not one of those fans that's like, Wan-Bissaka's crap, proved to you Dalot is better. And I don't like how there's this whole Dalot's clear of Wan-Bissaka. They're 2 good right backs that have been inconsistent for Man United over the years. Let's not judge them to the end of the season. We might get to the end of the season and say, you know what, Dalot and Wan-Bissaka, neither of them are good enough for Manchester United. We might at the end of the season go, you know, Dalot and Wan-Bissaka, they're both not good enough. We might get to the end of the season and go, wow, Dalot's fantastic. Wow, Wan-Bissaka's fantastic. But who do we play? Or we might go, oh, Wan-Bissaka's good and Dalot's not good. Or maybe we decide to sell Wan-Bissaka at the end of the season. I'd say it's a fresh start for everyone. Make those judgments about those players come end of the season. That's how I feel. And look, Wan-Bissaka might not be good enough. Scott McTominay might not be good enough. Harry Maguire might not be good enough. I actually believe Harry Maguire is good enough. I just think when Harry Maguire's not in form, he's crap. When Harry Maguire is in form, I think he's actually a good centre-back. But, you know, everyone gets a fresh start, and I think come end of the season, make judgments. I'm not going to make judgments off 2 games. You know, there are actually fans out there going, Donny van de Beek's not good enough for Manchester United because he made that mistake versus Young Boys. Donny van de Beek was, you know, wanted by Real Madrid, wanted by Barcelona. You know, he came on at halftime versus Watford and absolutely outshone McTominay's first half performance. And there's fans, they're saying, oh, Donny's not good enough for United after 1 game. I think, you know, we need to stop being so reactionary. Oh, McFred is starting versus Norwich. Because McFred, guys, are believed to start. It's rumoured McFred and it's leaked McFred will start versus Norwich. And I think, you know, people are going to be, oh, McFred's starting versus Norwich and stupid McFred, or Dalot's better than Wan-Bissaka, Donny's not good enough. I don't like how people go off 1 or 2 games to form assumptions. You know, Rashford has 3 bad games, all of a sudden Rashford. Rashford has 2 good games, all of a sudden he's better than Messi. It's like, can we actually judge players at the end of the season or halfway point of the season and see what they've done over a 6-month period? Let's not go off a few months. Eddie says that Donny was not to blame for that goal scored against them. Matic should have been quicker and the ball would have been cleared. Now, Donny is part to blame for the goal, but not all the blame is on Donny, because actually when you look at the goal that we conceded, there were a lot of errors, there were a lot of mistakes, and a lot of them, you know, Wan-Bissaka made an error, then won it back, Matic made an error, Donny made an error. There were 3 players at fault for that goal. And I think when you look at it and I go, oh, could have Wan-Bissaka been quicker to move to the ball? Did Wan-Bissaka turn off? Yes. Did Wan-Bissaka give it away originally? Yes. Was Matic should have been quicker? Yes. Should Donny have maybe cleared it? Yes. I think there were 3 players at fault for that goal. And the only thing I don't like about that goal is everyone sees, oh my God, you know, Donny's given it away, and people assume Donny had a bad game. But I think Donny was part to blame for that goal, but I don't think the whole blame was on Donny. Again, I think it's reactionary. Donny gave it away, so let's blame Donny for the goal. Van de Beek is not a CDM. He plays a CDM against Young Boys. Van de Beek is not a CDM. We know Van de Beek is not a CDM. But what we do know about Van de Beek is he's a box-to-box player. And I think Van de Beek can be a CDM in the dual pivot. Van de Beek, you know, if Van de Beek was a CDM, he'd be holding by himself. He'd be playing Van de Beek, Pogba, Bruno. You know, if Van de Beek was a CDM, we'd have been playing Van de Beek, Pogba, Bruno come last season. Of course we would have. That would be an absolute common logic. We all know Van de Beek's not a CDM. We all know Fred's not a CDM. We all know McTominay's not a CDM. But when you play pivot players, when you play 2 players in a pivot, what you can do is you can play, you know, sort of together so they can support each other. And, you know, we've seen Donny and Matic play together, and Donny's been brilliant. Whenever Donny and Matic play together, Donny's always brilliant. We've seen Donny and Fred play together for 45 minutes versus Watford. Donny was brilliant. You know, Donny can't hold on his own because he's not a CDM. But Donny and Matic, good. Donny and Fred, good. Donny can play in the pivot. You can play in the dual pivot, because when you play in the dual pivot, you're not a CDM. You're two CDMs doing a holding role, but you're not the primary CDM, if you get what I mean. You know, we've tried to play McTominay as a CDM on his own. You know, the McTominay, Pogba, Bruno thing versus Villarreal, versus Atalanta, atrocious. You know, Donny didn't prove that he was a CDM versus Young Boys, but what Donny did prove versus Young Boys was he was defensively solid. And although it will be McTominay and Fred tomorrow, I believe, that's what I've been told, I would like to see Donny and Fred. And I think although Donny can't hold on his own, either can Fred, either can McTominay really. None of them are CDMs, either can Pogba. Matic is the only CDM we got. If Donny could hold on his own, that's a big problem. That would be a big problem to solve. But what Donny can do is he can play that McTominay role. And we know Donny can play that McTominay role, because all you have to do is go back to 2 weeks ago, Manchester United versus Watford. What happened? McTominay straight swap for Donny in the 45th minute. How much better was Donny than Scott McTominay? So that's one game. You know, we might can't say end of the season Scott's better than Donny. You never know. But from what we saw from that one game is all Donny did was the same role as Scott McTominay, but he did it 10 times better defensively and offensively. And that proved to me that 45 minutes versus Watford, and I know it's one game, but the fact that we were 2-0 down, the mentality of all the players around Donny was crap, the fact that everyone around Donny was playing crap, and he managed to score that goal, he almost got an assist, he managed to create chances, he managed to do a good defensive job versus Watford, proved to me, yes, Donny van de Beek can play in the bloody pivot, he can play a somewhat CDM role. Guys, please do smash a like on the video if you have not already, and of course subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football. If you do want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe button. As Paul says, subscribe to Alice Talks Football and press the bell notification and all of that. Dred says Wan-Bissaka has a habit of delayed last-ditch tackles, but he's definitely not a bad player. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that as well. And Paul says strip Maguire captaincy. Let me know in the chat who should be United captain. Do you think Rangnick's going to strip Maguire captaincy? I think Rangnick's only here for 6 months. I think Maguire will play. And I don't think, is it necessary to strip him captaincy? Maybe not if you're an interim manager. But I do believe Ronaldo should be captain and not Harry Maguire. And let me know in the live chat who would be your captain. For me, first choice captain is Ronaldo. Second choice captain is Bruno. Third choice is David De Gea. They would be my 3 candidates for Manchester United captain, because they've got that captain mentality, especially Bruno and Ronaldo. We see it. I actually think, weirdly enough, I wouldn't give him captaincy, but Donny van de Beek has an elite mentality. And I saw this on Twitter. We're talking about Donny a lot. But, you know, McTominay, they did a comparison of Donny and McTominay's post-match interviews. And McTominay was just like, oh, we're the underdogs, we need to work a bit harder. If we work hard, we can win. Whereas Donny, in his post-match interview, was like, we can win the Champions League. You know, we've got a good squad. Why can't we win the Champions League? We believe we can do it. You know, and that Donny had a bit of captain mentality in him as well. But I think, you know, Ronaldo would be captain for me, followed by Bruno, followed by De Gea. I think they've just got a little bit more elite captainness. I even think, and I believe this or not, people will disagree with this, I think Lindelof would be a better captain than Harry Maguire. Because Lindelof, for me, whenever they play, and this is only really recent that I've noticed it, but Lindelof's a lot more vocal than Harry Maguire. Lindelof's the one organising the line. Lindelof's the one getting quite vocal. I know Maguire's more physical than Lindelof and all that. I think Lindelof is more captain-like than Harry Maguire, because Lindelof is more actually in charge of organising the defence. And I think mind-wise, Lindelof's probably a better centre-back than Maguire. And I always, there's this one thing that I remember someone saying, and I can't remember who said it to me. This one thing always sticks with me. Victor Lindelof is a world-class defender in a midfielder's body. Someone said this to me, and I can't remember who, but they said Victor Lindelof is a world-class defender in a midfielder's body. Because you actually look at Lindelof, he has good decision-making. I think he's quite good off the ball positionally. I think, you know, he can read the game well. In the 1920 season, he was the only centre-back that didn't get dribbled past. We've seen him have a few good games. The problem with Lindelof is he's a liability because he can get pushed off the ball. He doesn't win that header. He's not physical enough. And I've always gone, put Victor Lindelof in Harry Maguire's body, and you might actually have a Van Dijk-like centre-back. Generally, I think, you know, and all of that. Harry needs better positioning. He doesn't have the speed exactly. What I did notice under Ralf Rangnick and his tactics was we didn't get hit on the counter-attack. Even though we played such a high line and there was that worry, will we get hit on the counter-attack with Maguire and Lindelof's lack of speed? We didn't get hit on the counter-attack versus Crystal Palace, because what I noticed is because the fullbacks got so high that the wingers had to track back with them. And I think it helped Maguire and Lindelof, because even in 2 games under Ralf Rangnick, I can see we look so much better defensively. In 2 bloody games, guys, we look so much better defensively. It's actually mad when you think about it. You know, even under Carrot, we looked better defensively. And I think, you know what? I think a big problem with Lindelof and Maguire was not just ability-wise, but I think it was defensive coaching. I think coaching-wise, you know, we had the worst home defensive record in the Premier League up until Ollie was sacked. You know, we were conceding 5-4 goals a game. You know, 4 Leicester, 4 Watford, 5 Liverpool. It was a common theme to concede 3+ goals a game, especially when we lost Varane. It just showed how weak Manchester United were in the back. As soon as Varane got injured, it just exposed how crap we were defensively at the back. But I do think, I mean, we looked a bit better defensively under Carrot, but I do think under Rangnick in 2 games we've looked better defensively in terms of organisation, in terms of positioning. You know, because I think with United, everything we did wrong defensively come start the season was such silly rookie errors. And I think that was the frustrating. We're like, why is Maguire playing like someone with absolute no experience? Like, it was so many little, like, rookie errors as well. Eric Bailly and Rafael Varane, best centre-back pairing at United since Daniel Fairling. I would agree. Donny is from Ajax, where they learn to play every position. Donny can play cam, he can play CDM, he can play box-to-box. But Donny as a player is a box-to-box player. I think, you know, for me, I would like to see Donny sort of in this role here. This is what Donny and Fred would be doing at Manchester United, but, you know, it's sort of be Donny a little bit more advanced of the two. And also as well, Donny and Sancho have really good link up as well. And under Ralf Rangnick, if you look at Ralf Rangnick's style of football, quick, moving the ball forward, moving the ball fast, off the ball runs, I think Donny in that McTominay will excel, because we saw how good Donny and Sancho were in the second half versus Watford. It was the only good thing from the game. We know how good Donny is off the ball. Donny has probably one of the best off the ball movements in the world. That's what you learn at Ajax, to make those runs into the box, to draw defenders out. You know, actually, when you look at it from sort of a performance analysis kind of way, you can see Donny actually, when he makes those runs, he draws defenders out. You know, if you look back at a lot of the goals United have scored where Donny's been on the pitch, and it sounds weird, and you know, we always go, isn't it a coincidence we sub Donny on and we score a goal? You know, how many times up in the last 5 minutes of games did we score a goal? You know, Donny gets us 5 minutes on the pitch, we score a goal. Last season we saw it versus Spurs, we saw it versus Burnley, we saw when we got that winner versus Brighton. I know it was a penalty, but Donny like kept the ball on for that penalty. You know, so many games that Donny's come on the pitch, we scored a goal in. You know, that Atalanta game, Donny comes on, we make it 2-2. So many games where Donny's come on, we've ended up scoring a goal that Donny hasn't got a goal for, Donny hasn't got assists for. But if you look back at a lot of the goals we scored, where Donny's come on as an 80th minute sub and we scored in the 85th minute, and it sounds like I'm sucking off Donny Rangnick here, but it's actually his movement that draws defenders fight. He actually plays a part in that goal, even if he doesn't get a direct goal, or even if he doesn't get a direct assist. His movement has played a part in that goal, because Donny Rangnick, I tell you this now, has one of some of the best off-the-ball movements in football. We all have to calm down. This is a long-term plan, and Ralf needs time to assess players as well as which players will play together. It's been months before we get a settled team. Exactly. If we see McFred on the team sheet tomorrow, I've been told it's McFred on the team sheet tomorrow. It's basically unchanged, but Greenwood. Do not be reactionary. Do not get angry. Ralf Rangnick's only had a couple of weeks with the team. McFred are fresh. They've had a week off, and they've won the last 2 games in a row that Ralf Rangnick's watched. Ralf Rangnick is not going to go all Ollie and play McTominay and Fred every single week. Ralf Rangnick, I think, because they've played versus Saturday, I think come Tuesday, come the Brentford game, we won't be seeing McTominay and Fred. We could be seeing Donny and Fred. We could be seeing Matic and Donny. We could be seeing something different. And I think, you know, we probably will see McFred versus Norwich. That is what the lineup I've been sent says. But yeah, definitely not be thing. Diego says Varane for captain. A lot of people say Ronaldo for captain. I think Varane will be a good captain, but he just hasn't been here. This is a comment I get a lot, actually. Lindelof for CDM, his passing isn't bad. And you know what? Do I think Lindelof's a CDM? No. Would I rather go out and buy a CDM and not do a Lindelof experiment? Yes. It'd be very Glazers-esque to go, you know what? We can't buy a CDM. Do an experiment with Lindelof. I wouldn't be surprised if Rangnick did try Lindelof as CDM, though. Because the fact that Rangnick played a midfield 3 of Donny, Mata and Lingard, the fact that he played Matic as centre-back, the fact that he likes to bring on Alanga and bring on youth players, the fact, you know, we've had 2 games under Ralf Rangnick. And there are 2 games under Ralf Rangnick. And both those games have told us something. They've told us Ralf Rangnick likes to try things new. He likes to give people chances. He likes to try things new. He brings on Rashford. He brings on Alanga. He tries this new formation versus young boys. He makes some interesting subs. He plays very attacking football, very attacking team. We haven't seen that at United in a while. You know, we have not seen that in United in a while. So maybe we'll see Ralf Rangnick give Lindelof a go at CDM, because Ralf Rangnick knows we need a CDM. Ralf Rangnick wants to get a CDM in January. You know, we're looking at ZAKARIA, we're looking at HAIDARA. Will we get a CDM in January? I think if we sell players, we will go for a midfielder in January. I do believe that's the case. I wouldn't be shocked if Ralf Rangnick goes, you know what, let's give a Lindelof a cheeky little spell at CDM. I would not be shocked if we saw that, because we know what kind of manager Ralf Rangnick is. He likes to take risks. He likes to try something new. Do I think they lost to CDM? Probably not. I think he could probably do a job at CDM because he reads the game well. He could maybe become a good CDM. You see Kimmich go from right back to CDM, and that was under sort of Ralf Rangnick's coaches. I know he sort of really did that at Bayern, but sort of similar sort of coaches to work Ralf Rangnick. We could see coaches turn Lindelof into a CDM, potentially if we need be. But at the end of the day, I still think the problem is we do need to buy a CDM. But I'm not opposed to giving Lindelof a go at CDM. I think, if we do get a game that's not the end of the world, not the be-all and end-all, why don't we give Lindelof a run at CDM? See how it works. And I think, again, as we know, Rangnick is the type of manager to definitely potentially do that, potentially give it a go as well. Guys, by the way, please do smash a like on the video if you have not already, and of course subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. We're 25 subscribers away from 25.6k, so please do subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. I will be live tomorrow for a Manchester United versus Norwich City watch along, so make sure you subscribe to watch the Manchester United versus Norwich watch along, and then after the match will be a live match reaction to Manchester United versus Norwich. So make sure you subscribe with the bell notification on, and please do smash that like button. We are going for 300 likes on today's video, so please do smash a like on the video. If your Glazers out, if you want the Glazers out of our club, smash a like on the video, guys, and of course subscribe if you're new and all that. Get your chats in down below, as I will be getting through a few chats as well. And this comment says that Bruno has been shit for so many games, he needs to be dropped, and if he performs badly, he should be sold. I 100% disagree. Bruno's our most important player. He's had some bad games, he had some good games, but he's Bruno Fernandes. He's started 4 games in the Champions League. He's got 6 assists. I mean, he's been good in the Champions League. He has shown up in the big games. He has been a bit hit and miss, but we know how good Bruno can be on this day. So absolutely disagree with that comment. And this is a good comment here from Dennis that says, how long will it take to get our fitness up? We will see a lot of injuries in January. Yeah, I think this is the thing, and Ralf Rangnick said this in his first press conference about Manchester United. Ralf Rangnick actually said this himself. He said the thing is, because of the dense fixture list, and he doesn't have enough time to really do fitness training with the squad. He says, although Ralf Rangnick's style of play is high pressing football, it's pressing football, it's attacking football, Ralf Rangnick's style of football requires a lot of running. He said because of the dense fixture list and he doesn't want to risk injuries, he can't really do much fitness intense training because he doesn't want to get injuries, and there's just not really the time to do it because there's a match every 3 days until like freaking March, unless we get knocked out the UCL, unless we get knocked out the FA Cup, which we don't want to do. So Ralf Rangnick's kind of said that himself. He's not got a lot of time, and at this time of the season, you can't really do fitness training. However, I think the team will gradually get fitter over a long period of time and gradually get more adapted to the press. But unfortunately, because we haven't had a summer, because we haven't long term, it is not going to be a drastic change. I think it will be sort of a long-term process. My score prediction is Manchester United 1-0 against Norwich. Van der Beek scoring in the 71st minute. Oh, guys, everybody in the chat. I want everyone in the chat to get involved. Let me know score predictions, and as well, you can let me know who you think is going to score on top of the score predictions. If you have not already, do let me know down below. And of course, do subscribe to the channel as well, because I will be live tomorrow for the Manchester United versus Norwich watch along. Then I also will be doing a live match reaction after that. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, if you've not seen my face before, I do daily Manchester United content on the channel. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more, make sure you subscribe to Alice Talks Football, because I do daily Manchester United news updates. The January transfer window is coming up, and throughout January, there's going to be daily transfer news content. With Martial and Lingard set to leave in January, I do believe we'll bring in a player with a lot of news hinting and suggesting that Manchester United will bring in a midfielder. Ralf Rangnick has identified midfielders. We're working on midfielders. I think there will be a lot of transfer news to come in January, so please do subscribe as well if you're not subscribed, because I will be keeping you up to date on January transfer news, as well as watch-alongs, match reactions, and match previews to every game as well. And anyone see Pogba fitting into the system? I'm going to answer this question while we're here. And Pogba can play as a left wing. Pogba's better when he's on the ball. Pogba's better out of the pitch. I think we could just play Pogba on the left like that, as a left sort of cam. He kind of did that role anyway in the 4-2-3-1. Pogba does actually press. There's this stigma that Pogba's lazy and, jog, but he does jog around, and Pogba has a silly run. I think Pogba's problem is, it's not that he's lazy, but it's the way that he conducts himself. You know how he runs around with that silly jogging run. I think that's why people believe Pogba's lazy, because maybe his body language. But Pogba's not lazy. Pogba can press, and I think Pogba could fit into that system kind of like that, actually, and just do what Bruno does, and actually be a bit of rotation for Bruno. Is Rashford not going to play? Well, someone DM'd me on Twitter and said, it's just Greenwood in for Rashford. It's an unchanged lineup tomorrow. But we'll have to wait and see because, you know, injuries can happen. Elite lineups that come up this early and not always accurate. You know, the elite lineup that come out an hour before are more accurate. So you obviously have to wait. You have to wait and see. Donny to start. This lineup on the pitch isn't the lineup we're seeing tomorrow. By the way, this is my ideal lineup. The lineup that I've been told we're seeing tomorrow is an unchanged lineup from Crystal Palace, apart from Greenwood and for Rashford. It's the same lineup as Man United versus Crystal Palace, apart from Greenwood and to Rashford. This lineup on your screen would just be my lineup. Not what we're seeing tomorrow. Just don't want people to click on the video and go, oh my God, this is the lineup for tomorrow, because it's not. This is my ideal lineup. I mean, it could be the lineup for tomorrow, but Pogba's injured, so it won't be. Varane's injured, so it won't be. But yeah. Lewis says one of Bruno's problems is his intermittency. He can make you a great game today, and tomorrow he can make a disaster of a game. It's not stable. Inconsistency, I agree. People saying United are going to win 3-1, 4-0, 3-0, 4-0, 3-1. Let me know predictions down below. 5-1 United, 6-0 Gangnam Press Masterclasses Mesh. I'm going to go 4-1 United. Daniel Flem, because Norwich have improved lately. Norwich have been shit this season, but they've looked all right in the last few games. Daniel's going to go 4-0 United as well. I'm going to go 4-1. I don't think it's going to be a complete thrashing, but I do think with the new manager bounce, with the win, the fact that it's Norwich, we should win a nice win. We got 4-1 versus Newcastle. I think we can get 4-1 versus Norwich. But it could be a tough game. Diego's going with 2-1 Manchester United with Greenwood and Ronaldo to score. I believe Greenwood and Ronaldo will score if they both start. I can see it happening. I can see it happening as well. But my score prediction is 4-1. Greenwood and Ronaldo to get a goal. Sancho to get his first assist. And then a goal from one of the fullbacks, maybe Telles. Maybe Telles. Maybe Telles is my prediction as well. 3-1 United. A lot of people saying 4-1 thing. Guys, we've hit 200 likes on the video. Can we push for 300 likes? Please do smash a like on the video if you have not already. It's all Glazers out. If you want the Glazers out of the club, smash a like on the video. And of course, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you are new to the channel as well. If you want to stay up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, updates and more, click that subscribe button. It's absolutely free to subscribe. It costs nothing. Smash that subscribe button because I do daily live news shows on the channel, keeping you up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, updates and more, as well as a watch along tomorrow and a match reaction tomorrow. So for match previews, match reactions and watch along, subscribe, as well as daily United news. I do want to say one thing about Martial leaving. I want to say one more thing about Martial leaving, guys. Do you know what absolutely infuriates me? Is these Arsenal fans bantering, oh, Martial's going to leave Man United. What a flop signing. Can't believe Man United fans compare Martial to Henry. Where's Martial's Ballon d'Or clause? There's generally some Arsenal fans like, haha, Martial's Ballon d'Or clause. They compared him to Henry. I say this now. Martial will walk right into that Arsenal lineup because Aubameyang has been crap. So all the Arsenal fans saying, oh, Martial's rubbish and all that, Martial would walk straight into your side because Aubameyang's been crap. Martial's a good player. Martial is better than Saka. Martial's better than Pepe. Martial's better than Lacazette. Aubameyang's been crap this season. Martial, for me, walks into that Arsenal lineup. So I don't get why Arsenal fans are giving it all about Martial. I think he walks into their lineup, in my opinion. And Glazers have allowed us a lot of signings, just a lot of flop signings in Sir Alex Ferguson. Not their fault, says John Harvey. It is the Glazers' fault because they've allowed us. The reason we've had a lot of crap signing is because the Glazers have allowed us to employ a businessman in Ed Woodward to do that job. The fact that we've had a lot of failed signings and not brought the signings we need is because of the Glazers. Yes, we've spent the most money. Yes, we've brought a lot of players. Have we always brought players we've needed? No. Have we brought players in positions we needed? No. We've neglected the CDM position for 2 years. And have we had a lot of flop signings? Yes. We spent the most money because we employed someone like Woodward to spend 130 million on Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. 130 million on the two of them because Ed Woodward was given decisions. And that is the Glazers' fault for letting Ed Woodward learn on the job for 8 bloody years. 9 bloody years Ed Woodward's been learning on the job. And our transfer business has been just as crap as Barcelona's. 130 million Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. So I disagree with that comment. Absolutely disagree with that comment. Fabrizio Romano has come out and tweeted that Newcastle United, guys, are seriously interested in Jesse Lingard. That is a tweet from the Don, Fabrizio Romano. Look, you know what? I think Lingard's gone. I think United would rather Lingard go to Newcastle and West Ham. I think Lingard would like to go to West Ham because he was so good at West Ham. I don't know if United are going to let Lingard go to West Ham because West Ham could really cause us trouble for top four. And if you give them Lingard, it does give them that boost. So we could see Lingard potentially going to Newcastle to United. Fabrizio Romano also said that many clubs have approached Manchester United to negotiate for Amad Diallo in January. Feyenoord wanted him since last summer. Diallo again looks like he's getting a January loan move. And look, the players that are set to leave in January are Martial, Lingard, Dean, Henderson, and Amad Diallo. They're the 4 exits in January. Pogba and Matic set to go in the summer. Cavani set to go in the summer. There's a lot of exits coming at Manchester United. Again, that proves that we need to get someone in January. We've got a lot of work to do come summer. And I think that's why Ralf Rangnick is saying to the squad, and I think that's why Ralf Rangnick is talking to the owners, talking to the higher-ups of Man United, saying, I want to see them in January, because I think Ralf Rangnick knows we're losing a lot of players in 2022. There's a lot of players that will go on loans, a lot of players we're losing permanently, and we need a CDM anyway. We're going to lose Matic and Pogba in the summer for free. So why don't we get a CDM now? So then when we do lose Matic and Pogba in the summer for free, we don't have to go and look for 3 midfielders. We can look at a DEJONG or 2 midfielders and then focus on a Haaland because Martial and Cavani going. We need a striker. Matic and Pogba going. We need a midfielder on top of already needing a midfielder before that. The new manager might want a fullback. The new manager might even want a centre back. The new manager might even want a winger. So it's really, really important that we do get that CDM in. Come January, and I think that's why Ralf Rangnick is sort of talking about us needing a CDM or wanting a CDM. Martial to Arsenal reminds me of Welbeck, says John Harvey. I think Martial's better than Welbeck, and I think he would be better signing than Welbeck. But yeah, I guess it gives you that kind of sense. Young player, broke through, got hyped up a bit, didn't quite make it, goes to Arsenal. Yeah, potentially as well. And is that potato Ed Woodward leaving, says Gaz. Well, I hope he's leaving, Gaz. But who bloody knows? He was meant to leave in the summer, and then it got delayed. Then he was meant to leave last month, then it got delayed. And he was meant to leave this month, and it got delayed. And basically, Ed Woodward leaving is getting delayed every single month. And I generally feel like we're going to be here in a year's time, and Ed Woodward still wouldn't have left. I think he'll leave by the summer. I think we're Rangnick getting the consultancy role with Richard Arnold already making plans for when he gets that role, saying he's not going to learn on the job, he is going to bring someone in. I do think we'll get someone come summer. I think he'll be gone by the summer, but he should be gone by now, Ed Woodward. And I think it's a disgrace that he's still in the job. But I do think he'll be sort of gone towards the summer. Poor Ollie must be feeling off at the moment. Love you, Ollie. I do feel a bit bad for Ollie. He's lost his dream job, but that's in the past. Let's focus on the present. It's the Ralf Rangnick era guy. That's what we need to focus on. And Man United need to be very pragmatic, like Real Madrid, says Cosmic. And if the Glazers would let Murta work on the football decisions and Rangnick buy whatever he wants, I wouldn't have a problem with them. I'd still have a problem with them because everything in the past, because they don't have the club's best interest at heart. And we know that. But if I'd be less anti-Glazers if they didn't employ Woodward, they employed proper people. There's a lot of football clubs that have not very nice owners and owners that don't care too much about football, but at least they can run their football club efficiently. And, if the Glazers could run the football club efficiently, it's tolerable. But I've always said, with the way the Glazers run the club, with the amount of people that are useless to employ, Man United are not going to be the Man United we were under Ferguson unless the Glazers leave. The only chance we are going to be the Man United side we were under Ferguson if the Glazers stay is if the Glazers start thinking about the squad, thinking about the structure of the board, thinking about who's making the decisions and spend the money. That's unlikely to happen because the Glazers aren't those type of people. We could bring Eric Ten Hag in the summer. We could get Ralf Rangnick in a consultancy role for 2 years, Murta in a consultancy role for 2 years. And, we could get success, but I don't think we're guaranteed the success that we got on the Fergie until the Glazers are out, or until there's some big changes made to the structure of the board. Now, there are going to be changes made to the structure of the board. We all know that. We all know there's players coming in. We all know there's players going out. Carlos says, what do you think of the Frenkie de Jong transfer? I like de Jong. I would take him, especially with Paul Pogba leaving. And Martial, Miles better than Welbeck, surely, says Diego. I agree. And Greenwood is not starting. Maguire may be out until his stitches come on Saturday. I've been told it's basically an unchanged lineup. I would Greenwood in for Rashford tomorrow. That might not be the case. It's very, very early to leak a lineup, so accuracy is not going to be brilliant. But that's what I've been told. And any word on how the new coaches are doing? We've got 2 new coaches in Sasha Lenz and Chris Armas. I think we're going to get another 2 coaches in. One of them obviously being the one that was sacked by RB Leipzig in Jesse March. I think he's rumoured. I think there's 2 more coaches coming to Manchester United, but 2 of them are already kind of here, just working on visa issues, just working on things. And they need to join. And when Rangnick gets his coaching staff, the real work will start, I reckon, says Diego. And big up Diego, I agree with him. But guys, I am going to end the live stream here, by the way, guys. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in today's live stream. If you have not already, please do smash a like on the video. And, of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers now. We're 25 away from 25.6k. So, guys, I'm going to be live tomorrow for Manchester United versus Norwich watch long. So do subscribe with post notifications on. I apologise if I didn't read out anyone's live chat. I'm sorry if I missed any live chats, but if you are subscribed to the channel with post notifications on, I do read out loads of chats throughout my watch long. So just subscribe with the bell on, and I'll be reading out a lot of chats in my watch long tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe for that, and I will read out your chats in my watch long tomorrow. Smash a like, smash a subscribe, smash a share. Back for a watch long tomorrow. Daily United content coming on the channel live pretty much 7 p.m. every evening. That's when the match isn't on for transfer news updates. It's going to be live a lot throughout January because there will be some transfer news coming out. But like tomorrow, 5:15, I'm going to be live, and then after the match, we will be live again for a reaction. So, thank you everyone for tuning in. Smash a like, smash a subscribe, set the notifications on. Have a good day, everyone. See you next time. Bye.